All right, let's just jump right in. If you've ever felt kind of scattered, unfocused, maybe even a little ashamed of all your half-finished projects and hobbies, then this is for you. We're about to reframe that entire feeling, not as some kind of weakness, but as a genuine superpower that's perfectly built for the world we live in now.
So, does this look familiar? That guitar collecting dust in the corner, the website you started coding, that sudden obsession with learning pottery that lasted a month? Society tells you that you lack focus, that you just can't pick a lane and stick with it. And that little voice of shame in your head, it's really common. But honestly, it's based on a total lie about who you are and what you're capable of.
And this is probably the stick you use to beat yourself up with, right? A jack of all trades is a master of none. We hear it all the time. It's thrown around like an insult, a way to say that your curiosity is a flaw. It feels like a final judgment, doesn't it?
But here's the thing, that's not the whole quote. The full saying is, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And that little addition, it changes everything. It turns the whole idea on its head. See, feeling scattered isn't a defect. It's your mind adapting, preparing you for a future where being a master of only one thing is actually the biggest risk you can take.
So why all the anxiety? Well, it's not a personal flaw. It's because you've been forced to play a game using a seriously outdated rulebook. For the last 100 years or so, our schools, our jobs, our entire idea of a career was built around a central lie.
The game was what you might call I-shaped. It rewarded extreme specialization. The career accountant, the lifelong surgeon. The entire goal was to pick one single thing and just dig one hole, a mile deep, until you were the absolute expert in that one tiny slice of the world. And for a while, that strategy actually worked.
Psychologists call that past world a kind learning environment. Think of it like a game of golf. The rules were fixed. The course was predictable. You practice that one swing for 10,000 hours, you get good, and you win. Simple. But you and I, we don't live there anymore. We live in a wicked environment. The rules of the game are changing all the time, sometimes literally overnight. That old playbook, it's completely obsolete.
Okay, so what does that mean for us right now? Well, it brings us to a really critical point about our modern reality. In this new, chaotic, wicked environment, the one thing that used to be a massive strength, that hyper-specialization, has now become a massive weakness. It's fragile. I mean, just think about it. If you spend your whole life digging that one single hole, and then some new technology comes along and makes that hole totally irrelevant, what do? The specialist is incredibly vulnerable. They've put all their chips on one number, and the roulette wheel is just spinning faster and faster every day.
And this is exactly why your brain keeps pulling you in different directions. One year you're obsessed with electrical wiring, the next it's DJing, then you're trying to learn how to code. From the outside, it probably looks totally chaotic, but what you're really doing is strategic. You're collecting data from wildly different fields, preparing yourself for a world that demands you be able to adapt.
So, what do you do with all these random data points you've been collecting? This is where we get to your hidden strength. Your real value isn't in mastering just one thing. It's in your incredible ability to synthesize, to connect the dots that nobody else can even see. This is your M-shaped superpower.
The secret sauce here is a psychological concept called far transfer. Now, specialists are amazing at what's called near transfer, using what they already know to solve familiar problems. But you're different. You excel at far transfer. You can take an idea from, say, music and apply it to business strategy. That's not just a cool party trick. It is the engine of all real innovation.
Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine a web developer who used to be a farmer. On the surface, those two things have nothing in common. But that person's deep, intuitive grasp of organic systems, of seasons, of how ecosystems work, it lets them build software that feels alive, that adapts and grows in a way a pure coder who has only ever stared at a screen could never possibly replicate. They're not just writing lines of code. They are cultivating a digital garden. That's far transfer.
So here it is, side by side. The past belonged to that I-shaped specialist, one deep pillar of knowledge. But the future belongs to you, the M-shaped polymath. You have multiple pillars of real depth, not just surface-level knowledge. And the most important part is that they're all connected by this broad bridge of curiosity that lets you shuttle ideas back and forth between.
Okay, so understanding this is probably a huge relief. But it doesn't solve that very real, everyday problem of burnout, right? That feeling that you're just constantly falling behind. So how do you actually build this amazing M-shape without just completely collapsing?
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? You look around, you see your friends becoming senior managers or lead engineers in their one field, and you feel like you're still stuck at square one because you keep switching things up.
Well, the secret is that you don't have to do it all at once. The strategy is something called serial mastery. See, the trap is trying to build all the pillars of your M at the exact same time. You can't. You'll burn out. Instead, you start to see your life in seasons. You give yourself permission to go super deep on one, maybe two things for a while, and then, when the season's over, you pivot.
So let's just imagine a timeline. Maybe your 20s are your music and art season. You go all in. Then in your 30s, you pivot into programming to build some financial stability. You didn't fail at art, you just finished building that pillar. And then maybe in your 40s, you merge those two pillars to create something only you could make, like your own video game. It's about being sequential, not simultaneous.
And finally, let's talk about the single most powerful reason you are so perfectly designed for the future. And it comes from a pretty surprising place: evolutionary biology.
See, in nature, redundancy isn't wasteful. It's an incredible strength. A big reason elephants almost never get cancer is because their DNA has massive redundancy. They have multiple backup copies of cancer-fighting genes. So if one copy breaks, another one just kicks in. It's a biological safety net.
This is the perfect way to think about your life. All those seemingly random, chaotic interests and skins you've picked up, that's your redundancy. Every single hobby is another backup gene in your career DNA. So when AI comes for the job of a software engineer, the specialist is, frankly, terrified. But you're not. Because you also know how to fix an HVAC unit. You know electrical wiring. You know how to teach a class. You haven't been wasting time. You've been building a safety net that makes you incredibly resilient. No matter what the world throws at you, you've got a pivot ready to go. You are essentially unbreakable.
So please, stop looking back at that graveyard of hobbies and seeing failures. Stop apologizing for your curiosity. Those weren't failures. They were semesters. They were required courses in the unique, incredible university that you've been building for yourself your entire life. You are never supposed to be just one thing. You are built to be the bridge, the person who connects different worlds that the specialists can't even see are related. So the only real question left is, what worlds are you going to connect?